What is going on, everybody? I am Johnny Martinez, and you are plugged into the Social Plug podcast, where we connect you to level up and where we discuss and highlight ordinary people doing extraordinary things. We are always powered by Social Plug Media and J-Rock Castillo. Today, we are in Collab Space Studios in beautiful and historic New Braunfels, Texas. Today's show is sponsored by Top Flight Realty Group. My man, J-Rock, what is going on?
What's up, brother? You doing all right, man?
Man, I'm doing good. I'm back in attack mode.
Back at it.
Yeah, we've been out a little bit. We were traveling. Mm-hmm. You know, that's the key word today, traveling out in Las Vegas, Nevada, man. We had a great time.
Heck yeah, man. It's third time in Las Vegas.
For you?
Yeah, and it was pretty fun, man. It's kind of like I feel good whenever you can go back to the spots where you know you had fun. And so to be able to go back to the Fuel Bar and be down on the Strip, and the first time I went to Vegas was you and Jessica back during COVID, so it felt good to be back with y'all out there too, man. So we had a great time. Yeah. A lot of good fun and a lot of drinks too.
Yeah. I think you had a lot more drinks than I did.
I definitely did.
J-Rock, as I get older, the drinks don't settle well in my stomach.
Oh, yeah, you're telling me.
And I'm like, oh, man, I got to go to the bathroom, you know, constantly.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if it's my bladder or my esophagus or what. I mean, something's going on.
It can't be age, right? I mean, come on.
Well, I just talked about this the other day. I'm aging like fine wine, dude.
There you go.
All right. I'm like, not Edward Scissorhands. What's his name? Benjamin Button.
Benjamin Button.
Right. So when I was younger, I don't think I was as fit as I am today.
Oh, nice.
And today, I think I'm physically fit. I'm out here pumping iron and doing push-ups and sit-ups and all this stuff. Since I retired from the Air Force, I've lost a little bit of weight. I think I got a little lethargic and a little lazy when I was in the military towards my
really,
elder years, I would say. And I'm just keeping it real because we try to keep it real and genuine and authentic on this podcast. I'm not going to say some shit that's going to be false, right?
So you knew you were on your way out, and you're like, let me get a little relaxed here.
I think I was complacent, dude.
Yeah.
And as you get complacent, you kind of let yourself go. And I always tell you, presentation is everything. Mm-hmm. Presentation of our studio, presentation of ourselves, of our family, of our business, of our life. I mean, everything is presentation because it has to look good. And when you look good, you feel good.
That's right.
And confidence is very high with me right now. I'm about to be 49 years old. And I'm traveling now, and I'm doing a lot of things that I couldn't do before. I was restricted. So today, I'm a lot more free. I got mental freedom. I talk about that all the time. You talk about that all the time. Mm-hmm. And just living unrestricted is so fulfilling and so rewarding for the mind, right? So get out, take that trip. Get out and meet that network connection and all these different things. Just get out there and do it, man. Mm-hmm. What do the young kids say? YOLO, you only live once?
YOLO, bro.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we lived it up in Vegas for a little bit, for about 3 days. You were there at a little bit of work and a little bit of pleasure.
Yeah, I'll never do 7 days in Vegas again. This was my second time, and that was too much, bro. Too much. You were right. You were coaching me up, telling me that don't be going there for too long, and it was a little too much both times. Yeah. So I think next year I'm just gonna go with my basketball boys, and that's it. Yeah. And no Vegas, extra time. Yeah.
It is a little pricey there.
It was.
A couple of people, for dinner, maybe about $85 minimum. Yeah. And that's with a cocktail.
Mm-hmm.
And unless you want to eat some street pizza.
And that was you and Jess too, right? Imagine when it's just, so it's crazy out there, man. Pricing a little bit, but you gotta have fun. Like you said, you got to take that trip sometimes, man. I grew up not taking any trips. San Antonio was the biggest thing to do. You know what I mean? Living up here in New Braunfels. So take that trip, like you said, man, and go out there and have some fun. Experience all the great things that everything is to experience out there. I got back and I'm like, you know what? I can't wait for my next trip. And I think my next trip's going to be in November, so for my birthday. So we'll
to
see
Vegas?
No. I don't know, maybe. Dude, that or Colorado. I haven't been to Colorado yet.
Dude, I'm about to call you. You were there for a week in Vegas. I'm going to call you a Las Vegas resident because that's a long time.
That is a long time. I feel like I know where everything's already at in Vegas, too. So I knew the second time I went, I was like, you know what, let's rent a car and let me go drive around and see what's going on out here and just to witness everything. So it was pretty cool. This is the past time on a couple of days that I had out there. I went to some retro shops, arcades, and tried the different foods. So
and different other shops. But we'll keep it.
We'll keep it PG. We'll keep it PG.
Well, welcome to Vegas. And what happens in Vegas, J-Rock stays in Vegas.
That's
so
correct.
we won't discuss any further, man. So I mentioned travel and resources. So we are fortunate and blessed and honored to have resources that we've been able to build relationships with. Mm-hmm. travel agents, comedians, doctors, lawyers, musicians, small business owners, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they have become friends and colleagues and resources for not only for me and my family, but for others. And one thing that we always say is we try to provide value to others, help others, and connect others with these resources that we have. Because we're not hoarders. We don't try to hoard everything and keep it all to ourselves. If we find somebody who can help somebody else and we know somebody who can do it, we're gonna release that information and say, hey, reach out to this person.
Yep.
So I've been fortunate enough to have a resource for travel, right? So to me, travel is very important. It opens up your perspective to new ventures, to new journeys, and just open up to new cultures, new ways of life that you never thought existed, not only abroad, but even here domestically, whether it be Florida, California. If you've only stayed in one part of your state your entire life, you're missing the boat. You need to get out and experience new things, and you start seeing life from a different lens, right? And I firmly believe that, and we're going to talk about that with our next guest. So we have an awesome guest. She's very dynamic. She's not only a owner of Wanderlust Travel Jetsetters. She's a professional and badass travel agent. She's on time. She gets shit done. She communicates well. She has experience in a lot of different travel destinations and things like that. It's amazing how much she knows and how much she grows in the community and with her mind, because she goes and visits Paris and Rome and all these different places. I'm like, holy cow, what I would give to go experience these things. But we can do it, and we're going to talk about that. She's also the co-owner of Climate Express Home Services. So those are two completely different companies or industries, but they mesh well together. So imagine that, travel and HVAC, heating and ventilation, air conditioning for your home and your business or your venue or whatever. She has a very dynamic story. She has a story of she struggled before in her life. She was part of a bad relationship where she had experienced personal challenges and things like that with domestic abuse and domestic things like that. And a lot of people today, J-Rock, are going through things like that, but they don't have an outlet to talk about it.
That's right.
And they don't have a microphone and a social media presence where they can help others. But this young lady does, and she's vulnerable, and she likes to tell her story. And she's come out on the local news stations, and she's come out on different magazines and things like that where she can tell her story to help others. So it's very intriguing, and I want to get in, take a deep dive into her story so everybody can know what her story is, so she can potentially help others. If we can help one person, J-Rock, on this platform, that's a big win. And we talk about winning all the time. And winning doesn't mean you're hoisting trophies. It means you're connecting with people. Winning means you're helping somebody with value, helping somebody with an outlet to be able to talk and to be able to get that mental freedom that you didn't even know existed, and all that pressure and burden that you have weighing on your shoulders. It just needs to be released sometimes.
Yep.
So this young lady, her name's Karen Carifee, and she's located here in New Braunfels, Texas, and she's been my friend for a while. I met her, I think, at one of the local events a few years ago, and I was intrigued. I was like, man, she's a boss lady. When that word gets thrown around all the time. I'm a boss lady. I'm this and that, but it gets tossed around so much, and it becomes diluted a little bit. It becomes watered down. But when I talk to her, she rejuvenates me and she inspires me, and just her words of wisdom. And she's always, the word today is standing on business, right? Mm-hmm. We hear about that all the time. Young people say, I'm gonna stand on business, but she does. And everything that she does is not only on business, but it's on people. It's on customer service. It's on value. It's on respect and loyalty and all these different things. And I'm very honored and pleased to have my friend, Karen Carifee.
Hi. Yep, I'm very happy to be here. I'm super excited because I've known you for a while now, and seeing what you and Jessica have done with your stuff and your life and your children has been extremely inspiring as well. And it's been fun to get to know y'all a little bit more and more and more. And building that relationship's been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed it.
Thank you. And you didn't pay me for any of that dialogue.
Y'all have been so inspiring, more than you'd think, that y'all don't understand too, because it's like, ooh, I get to talk to you, or we see each other in public, we've seen each other at the turkey giveaways or whatever we've been doing, and it's just been really just a lot of fun to get to know y'all too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
A lot of these intros, not a lot, all of them are from the bottom of my heart. That's the way I feel.
Really
and we're going to talk more about it.
Yeah.
But that's just the way I feel. That's the persona that you give off. That's your brand.
Yeah.
Karen, your brand is helping others, and not only helping them, but inspiring them, motivating them, and taking them to the next level.
Yeah,
So,
thank you. I really appreciate that. Really, like, I'm just sitting here like, wow, that's really inspiring. I need you to rewrite that down for me. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, welcome to the podcast. We've been wanting to have you on for a while. I know we've been going back and forth. I was like, Karen, I need to have you.
Yeah.
But I know your schedule is hectic.
Some days.
Yeah. But that's part of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
That's part of being a person that's solving problems constantly, putting out fires, not only in your own personal life, but for others as well. Mm-hmm. So I went on a recent trip. We went to Xcaret in Cancun. I took the family, and you made it seamless. You created our entire itinerary, and from top to bottom, from the travel to the taxi and everything.
Yeah.
And you just made it simple.
That's awesome.
And not only did you make it simple, while I was there, my mother-in-law, who was watching my dogs at the time at my house, she says, "Hey, there's something dripping in the back of the house from the ceiling." And I was like, "That sounds like the AC." So what did I do? I messaged you, and you solved that problem as well.
Yeah.
And that's why I say the travel and the AC business, those two kind of go hand in hand. And you would think they're completely separate, but they go hand in hand.
Yeah, that was just so funny. It was so random, right? To be like, oh, my travel agent can help me with my AC problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I love it. We've been, running hard with that business now for 8 years, and it's something that me and my husband started, and we really honestly love what we do.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that. You mentioned your husband, Bob.
Yep, Bob.
Bob Carifee. He's a beast as well.
Yeah.
I met him at the turkey giveaway, and he was dancing with turkeys. I think I made him dance with the turkeys, right?
You might have, but I don't think it took much to push him there.
No. He's a character, and he really gives a shit about the community.
He does. He really does. He loves giving back to the community. He's been doing AC, he likes to tell people, since he was like 8 years old. Mm-hmm. He's been doing it for a long time, actually. So it's a very passionate thing that he's always wanted to do. He even had a thing from 3rd grade saying he was going to own his own company one day.
Mm-hmm. And look at him now.
Yep.
And it's not only a company, it's the best company in New Braunfels, voted by the Herald Zeitung.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And then we've just expanded to now offer electrical services.
Yeah.
So we're trying to, be more rounded for our clients, so that way we can give them more options and, grow.
So with Climate Express, I mean, you can find them on social media, and you have a website and all this kind of stuff. How did that, so he already had this business when you guys got married, or?
Nope.
So tell us about that.
So to be honest, when we first got married, he had started up the business with something else. He called it Carifee Custom Heating and Air.
Okay.
But he didn't really understand all of it. He kind of got thrown into opening his own business. He had just got his license, did that. And then when we got together, it was kind of a sink or swim. So he because he wasn't understanding the business side of things at first, because it's not easy just to open a business and just go for it, right? So he had to make a decision to provide for his family or try to make that work when he didn't really understand a lot of behind the scenes things. So he went back to work for other companies. So he did that for a while. And then about 8 years ago, he was a service manager for another company, and he got to actually see what it was to run a business, the suppliers that you have to build those relationships with and things like that he really didn't know behind the scenes until he kind of worked somewhere else and got to see it in person. And then he came to me and said, "Okay, I think I'm ready." And that's when I was like, all right, you are ready, because you got to see the management side of it. It's always easy for employees to be like, I can do that, I can do that, I can do that. But when you've never been in management, it's not an easy process to just go run your own business. You have to know people too, because that's what people don't realize is business is relationship based as well.
And that's a great point. A lot of business owners, a lot of people in general say, I'm going to open up my own business.
Yeah.
It's going to be easy because I see Karen and Bob doing it. Mm-hmm. I see all these other business owners doing it, and it seems easy.
Yeah.
but it's really not. And you hit on the head. The relationships matter. The experience matters.
The experience,
and he did it right. He didn't just jump into it right away. He got the experience and his feet wet, meeting these other people and building these relationships and doing all these things that other business owners don't even realize.
Yes.
So that made him better. He got the reps, kind of like in sports. You're lifting weights, right?
Yeah.
You need to lift the weights and bulk up a little bit before you can get in the game.
Yeah, definitely. And then the other thing that people don't realize is if you're not going to put 100% into working for someone else, you're never going to make it on your own. So if he put 100% into what he was doing before, working at different places, even for myself, before we ever started this, I put 100,000,000% working for Ulta and working for Chili's and doing those different things. And a lot of business owners always like, oh, well, I want to go out on my own. I'm going to do it on this. But if you can't even hack it at that, you're never going to, you have to be self-disciplined to be able to run a business.
Yep. Speaking of which, so self-discipline, you got to be able to take criticism from not only your boss, because your boss is trying to make his company better.
Yeah.
And sometimes they try to make you better, but they make you better because the company profits from it as well. But you're going to have to take orders from your customers.
Yep.
And your clients. If they give you criticism or give you negative feedback, you got to be able to take that and turn it around to be able to make it a positive.
Yes.
And too many people today are thin-skinned where they can't take criticism and feedback, and they end up getting in their own head and fizzling out.
And they take it personal. And sometimes, and business can be personal, but sometimes you have to remember clients are upset about something, listen to what they have to say, and come up with a solution. Too many people look at the problem and they want to stay in the problem. And so a lot of times if you take the problem, listen to what they say, and come up with a solution. Because I always tell my people that work for us that we are not defined by our mistakes. We're defined by how we fix them.
Right.
So mistakes happen, things happen, and it's how we take it, conquer it, and then make it right. So that's what we try to concentrate on.
You're going to make mistakes.
You're going to.
You're a human being.
Yes.
Mistakes are going to happen daily. Of course, we want to minimize them as much as possible. Learn from your mistakes.
Yep.
The more mistakes you make, the more you're going to learn, right?
Yeah.
And grow and develop.
And we try to combat that before it goes too far. So we do these things with happy calls. So we try to call you the next day or two at the latest to say, hey, is everything working right? How's it going? How is the technician? Because we're trusting them to represent our business. So we want to make sure the clients are happy. And if there's something that we didn't see or something that needed to be redone, or maybe there was a miscommunication, we're trying to catch it before a week goes by and they're just sitting there getting more heated and more heated. And then, it goes out on social media or it goes out on a Google review. So not that we don't want to have bad reviews or anything, but we'd rather honestly take care of the problem before people just get so seething mad that we don't.
Right.
Yeah, then there's no solution.
Yeah. And I have personal testimony, and I can attest to that as well. Your technician, he called me. He met with me at the house. He followed up after, make sure I had no issues and things like that. And that made me, gave me a peace of mind and a sense of relief that I was getting taken care of. And just the communication and the sincere support that he gave represents you and Bob, Climate Express, and represented him, his family, values, all these things. So just a little communication goes a long way.
Yeah, that was Angel. I love Angel.
Yeah.
And he started with us, I think it's been 4 years now. He came to us when he was just barely going to AC school. And he came to work part-time with us while he was going to AC school. And he was like, can I just quit AC school and work for you full-time? And basically he kind of did. And he's just been with us ever since. And he's grown so much.
Yeah.
And we really do try to build a relationship with our team.
Absolutely. So I'm going to get into that as well. How do you keep a strong team, and how do you keep people like Angel motivated?
So for us, like, we try to meet once a week, especially with the AC company side of it. We meet once a week so we can get together. What's the problems out there? What are we seeing? Education is big and key. And then we try to not be like in their personal life, but we try to know their families. I want to know their kids. I want to know their spouses and wives. And we try to do things with some of my favorite things is Christmas time. We know we have a Christmas party and we invite all of them and we give back to them and say, hey, we're celebrating you. And we cook for them. We don't just get it delivered. We actually spend our day and we have things cooked and we try to give back to them. And then we do things like to celebrate their birthday, celebrate their work anniversary, and see that they are important to us, because that's one of our number one things, because that's something Bob always wanted, was to make sure like they have dental insurance, health insurance. Now we give into retirement plans. And we pay for half their medical insurance. Things to show that we're growing. We're not just writing ourselves big fat checks. We're actually saying, hey, guess what? We can invest into our company and we can make it better for us and them, because it's kind of a pay raise too for all of us.
Yep. And a big part of running a team or running a business is being appreciative of your employees. Because without your employees, you're not going to run a successful business, right?
Yeah.
And employees want to feel empowered. They want to feel like they're being trained and looked upon as a great asset to the company. And if they feel undervalued and underpaid and underappreciated, they're going to go elsewhere.
Yep.
And so we had chats before, and I asked you that same question.
Yeah.
And you said that, and I'm like, man, we need to talk about that on a podcast, because we need to be able to relay this to other business owners that just look at the employee as a burden or just somebody there working for me.
Yeah.
And I see people all the time, oh, I'm the boss. That's how it goes. They work for me. Bullshit. You work for them.
Yeah, we try not to be dictatorship in that sense of like, it's our way or the highway.
Right.
We're always saying, come to us with ideas. Come with us with you're having a problem. We also try to tell them, when you're out there and you are making decisions, you know what? I'd rather you ask for forgiveness than ask for permission, because at least you're making a decision. Is it always going to be the 100% right one? No, but it's better to think on your own and say, hey, this is what I did, this is what I thought. And we can reevaluate it, look at it, and move forward and say, you know what? Hey, next time, let's try it a little better. Or, you did a great job. And we try not to criticize it, but we try to be like, we can do it maybe this way a little bit next time. But at least they're making decisions, because I feel like a lot of people don't feel like they have that ability when they're always like, come to you every 5 seconds, come to you every 5 seconds. And that's why I tell them, I'd rather you come with me with the solution. Stop coming to me with the problem. If you have a problem with the homeowner, don't come, tell me, this is how we can fix it, and then we can move forward.
Right.
Yeah.
And I love
Empowerment.
that. I love that perspective, empowering people.
Yes.
Where you're evaluating who your leaders are.
Yes.
And who you can promote and who you can give a raise to and all of these things. And so a lot of business owners don't work that way.
No.
They're just,
control.
They want to control, and they don't give any leeway to decision making and leadership. Now, and correct me if I'm wrong, but as a decision maker, whether you're the leader or whether you're the worker bee, the best thing you can do is make the right decision. The second best thing you can do is make the wrong decision. The worst thing you can do as a decision maker is make no decision at all.
Yep.
And then that's where the problems lie. Well, I don't know. And then you got to rely on the CEO or the manager or the owner.
Yeah.
No, you should be able to make a decision on your own, because you have that expertise, you have that knowledge, and you know what's best for the scenario, right? But I love that you don't declaw them and handcuff them, where you're saying, no, you got to go through me to make that big decision.
Right. We try to delegate, because sometimes people, a lot of times in power or in business, in the bosses, we don't learn to delegate. We don't learn to give up a little bit of control. It's okay. You don't have to be 100% in control all the time. You need to be present. You need to be willing to get on the floor and sweep the floors if that's what needs to be done. You need your people to see that you will go under the house too, just like Bob does all the time with his guys. They see him working in the field, doing what they're doing. They know that he is not afraid to get dirty. But you also have to learn to delegate. Let them make decisions. Let them do things, because then it's not pleasant for anyone. We all have to go to work.
Right.
Why not go to work for somewhere we at least enjoy? Is every day enjoyable? No. Is every day perfect? No. But at least we have your back. We are gonna defend you, because there's times where there's some clients or customers that are just a little bit like, and I'm gonna be honest, I have defended my guys over that, because you are not going to yell at my people in the office. I tell them, if they have a client that's yelling at them, be like, we hear you. We're going to take care of you, and a service manager will get a hold of you, but I have to go.
Right.
Not to be mean to the customer, not to do anything like that, but these people are human beings.
Right.
And we forget that.
Yep. And you have this close tie and close relationship with your workers, so you know the way they are.
Yeah.
And you know the genuine passion that they have.
Yes.
And people make mistakes.
Yes.
And you want them to make mistakes sometimes. Of course, you don't want them to make huge mistakes that's going to cost thousands of dollars.
We've had people put their foot through a ceiling.
Yeah.
But he was his first day.
Yeah.
It was his first day.
Yeah.
We patch it and we fix it, but
it cost you a little bit, but you know what? He went up there and
Yep.
he was doing his job, and it happens.
Yeah, it was one of our new. As we swear, if we get a new installer, that's like his rite of passage.
Right.
He's put his foot through the ceiling.
That's happened to me before when I was a kid. I was up there messing around in a buddy's attic, and I fell through all the way through.
Oh no!
Yeah. It was an old house, but you know.
But still, you put your foot in the wrong spot, and I swear, like all of them. I think all of our installers have done it. You know what I mean? I swear, it's like a rite of passage for them. If they don't do it, then we're kind of like, it's not what's happening.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm thankful that Angel didn't fall through my attic.
No, he already learned that 4 years ago. They learn it once. Stuff, but yeah.
But yeah, owning a business is tough. It's challenging, but it's not for the weak, and it's not for the faint of heart. You got to be able to take on all these different challenges and things. And if you're not ready for it, you got to get your reps in. You got to go work for somebody else, and you have to be ready. And nobody's, always prepared 100% of the time. But if you can prepare yourself at least 75 to 80% of the time, you might be ready to be a business owner.
Yeah.
Because it is tough. I've been a business owner for a long time, and I can mentor and I can tell people how it is. And, from the bottom of my heart, it is tough. And I see a lot of these, I'm going to go, young kids straight out of high school, whatever. Oh, I'm going to go be, owner of this. Okay, cool. But I would recommend you getting some experience first, because you have to understand dealing with these tough clients.
Yeah.
And some clients are tough.
Yeah.
They want these discounts, and they demand you to do this, and they want you to, and if you're late a minute or whatever, not that we want to be late, but sometimes things happen, traffic, and we've seen these things. And they have these high expectations, which we try to fulfill these expectations double, because whatever the client's expectation is, mine is even higher than that. Right. And I'm sure yours is the same way. Because I mentioned at the top of the show, presentation is everything. So my service and my ability to perform, and not only mine, but people that work with me. And I never say they work for me. I say they work with me.
That's what we say. We don't even actually go around calling ourselves the owners so much. Like on my business card, it literally says office manager. Yeah. And I think Bob's might say like at one point service manager or the operations manager. You know what I mean? So we don't even put that on the card because we forget that we're the owner. Not that we forget, because trust me, we don't forget. But we go around like when they're always like the Carifees are here. Oh, we're like looking at each other like, what's going on?
But that shows what they think about you. They put you on a pedestal without you going around saying, I'm the boss.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, they don't. They'll call, and sometimes Bob will go to their house and they don't even realize. They're like, oh, does your dad own it, to Bob?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yep. But I love that. I call them partners or wingmen or whatever.
Coworkers. I call them
we work together.
My colleagues. I don't go around like me and Bob. Like we also say family owned and operated. Even though me and Bob own it, my sister works there, and then we have some people that that are family to us. We've been to their baby showers. We go check out their new babies that are always being born, or we go to their house parties and try to be part of their lives. And so I feel like that's part of my family too. Yep.
And I say we all own it because we all take ownership on it.
Yeah.
And that's you can never change my mind. We're all owners of this company now. I have the monetary input on it.
Yep.
But we all own it.
Yeah.
And that's the way I think running a business should be. And I think you have it spot on.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, great business. You guys have been voted how many years in a row?
7.
7 years in a row.
We've been in the top 3 for 7 years, and I think we've won number 1 the last 4 to. I don't remember. I think 4 years in a row we've won number 1. So
yeah. So that's a reputation. That's a trend. That's a tradition. A legacy.
Yeah.
All these key words on Climate Express Home Services.
Yep.
So you guys are top notch.
Yes.
And you guys are winners, and you're going to continue to win. And you're humble. And you're not going to let anything deter you from taking care of your people. And I think I talked to you last time. You don't have a high turnover.
No.
Most of your people stay with you.
Yeah, most of our people have stayed with us. We have like Albert, he's been with us now almost 6 or 7 years and stuff. We did just our first employee actually just left us because there's a better opportunity in his mind. I'm just kidding. No,
Yeah, in his mind.
in his mind. Just kidding. No, but we're still friends. It wasn't left like
Good.
He came in my office and I said, I'm not talking to you right now. And I literally had tears in my eyes
Yeah.
and he goes, I know. And so like we hugged it, so it's
Yeah.
not about any animosity because we even have ex-employees still come to our Christmas parties
Yeah.
and things like that. So we still try to, people want a different opportunity, want something better. We're all for it. We're not mad about it and stuff. But of course we have had some employees, let's be honest, that just got to go.
Right.
But everyone's had that.
Which is that's the
It's just part of
human
being
nature.
Yep.
And that's cool as a business owner. And I think I'm reading between the lines here. You want these people to not only learn and grow and develop within your company, but you want them to go be CEOs and business owners elsewhere.
Yeah,
Eventually,
if they feel like that's for them at that time. Yeah.
You want the bird to fly out of the nest eventually, just like my children. And we cringe every time we think about the time.
Yeah.
She's 16, our oldest, and in a couple of years, she's going to be an
Getting
adult. And she's going to fly out of the nest. And I cringe a little bit because that's our baby. But we want her to grow out of the nest and go fulfill obligations as a mom, as a adult, and so on and so forth. Just kind of like your employees. You want them to grow.
Definitely. No. And if that's something that they feel like we had another one, Daniel had been with us for 5 years, 4 or 5 years, and they just had a new baby and he decided he wanted something that wasn't more overtime and things like that. So he went to go work for, I don't remember if it was a school district or something like, or an office or something that would work for the schedule, and we understand that because being in the service industry, it's nights and weekends. We're not Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. It's sometimes 8 p.m., especially in the summertime because we're very, seasonal and stuff. So if there's something better for you, we're all for it if that's going to be better for you and your family.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel that in my heart all the time.
Yep.
I tell not only J Rock but other people, other realtors that were on my team. I want you to go lead your team eventually, and everything I'm training you and teaching you is for you to help others when I'm no longer there.
Yeah.
And I'm here. I'm seasonal because I don't want you to stay on my team for 20, 30 years. How are you ever going to grow and develop into a full-blown leader and owner of a company if you're always going to be attached to me all the time?
Yeah.
But I'm that head coach where you can always remember, hey, that Johnny Martinez, he set me up for success.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I live my life, and I want others to perceive me.
Yeah, definitely.
Eventually.
Yeah.
So, man, Karen, I can talk about HVAC and all that till I'm blue in the face. But let's transition into your other industry that you're an expert at.
Yeah.
And I know you love the HVAC service.
I do.
But I think you adore the travel.
Yes.
Because you built that from scratch.
Yep.
You kind of built both from scratch, but this one eventually, this is your baby.
Just me. Yeah.
Yep. And you are the face of the franchise. You are the brand. You are the one that people go to for advice and mentorship and things like that because you are providing value in their personal lives with your experience. And I'm sure you get experiences from other travel agents that you partner with because you build relationships. And hey, Diane, have you been to Aruba? I've never been. Can you give me some advice? And I'm sure you connect the dots in some way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about how you got involved with the travel because you weren't always a traveler.
No, well, depends on how. I mean, no and yes. So like when 15 years ago, we just had pop-up camper.
Okay.
We'd go, where we could afford. Because I'm be honest, I didn't have as much money.
More recently, you've been more an avid traveler.
Yeah, more recently, doing stuff like that. But it was always there in my mind that I always loved it. Okay. I kind of had a free spirit about me. I mean, there's one time where I was working at this gas station. It was my last day to work there, and this people came in and said, hey, we have tickets. Do you want to go to see George Strait concert? And I jumped in the back, and it was all the way in Little Rock, Arkansas, and I'm like, let's do it. Yeah. I've always had that kind of like adventurous soul, but just, didn't for the parts of going to visit other countries and things like that. That's been more recent in the last 4 or 5 years that I've done that. But then before I became a travel agent, I had already done a trip for us to go to New Orleans with our kids and did every single detail. Like I even had, I'm a very detail-oriented person and stuff and had everything mapped out, what we were doing, tours booked. And that was just me doing it on our own. And then we did New York City, same thing. I wasn't a travel agent, but I had everything booked, planned, tours and everything. And then my little calendar that Emily works for me. She was like laughing at me because I had it all detailed and written out and stuff. So I always had that interest kind of there, and it just kind of built up when I met another travel agent who was doing it. And I was like, well, how do you do that? What does that mean? What is it? So I kind of.
And your mind just went like, whoa,
yeah.
why
And then,
ain't I doing this stuff?
Exactly. And then just kind of got into it slowly at first. And I really wanted to be learning so much of the different things that you can sell and do the trainings and stuff. So I kind of jumped into it a little bit slowly at first, and then the last couple of years of traveling more and social media, because that's kind of my favorite thing too. I love taking pictures. I like writing stories. I like inspiring people, even if it's not to travel with me or book with me. I'm hoping that I'm inspiring you to do something, because I do these other things, fun little things called daycations, where I'll go do stuff in Texas and show you what's around us, what's free or a minimum cost, or things just to inspire you to do that, because I'm Texas born and raised, and to be honest, I love Texas, and I love to be able to show people what we have here in our state of Texas that we can do as well.
There's so much, and it's almost like another country.
Yes, there's so many things that you can see and do, and I have a stupid trip coming up for November because I just bought a travel trailer, and there's this thing I've been dying to stop in Marfa, Texas, to see that product store. It's a art installation.
Okay.
And it's a fake Prada store, and it's freaking cool, and I'm going to do a whole photo shoot in front of it.
So it's just a facade. It's not. It's like
it's a whole building.
It's like a set.
Yeah. And it's fake Prada store in Marfa, Texas, in the middle of nowhere.
So I know Marfa, Texas has the Marfa lights.
Yep.
Right? And I don't know if it's factual or what, but these lights are floating. Isn't it just like headlights?
I have no idea. I've not been there, so I had some ideas, like I said. But for me personally, and there's a really cool hotel there in Marfa, Texas, actually, that I've seen talked about booking and looking at, because it's really cool and it's really old timey and neat. But I am obsessed with that Prada fake store art installation, and I'm going.
We need to look that up.
Yes, you do. You got to Google it. It's great. It's hilarious.
So fake Prada store in Marfa, Texas.
Yeah, in the middle of a desert. And I'm like, I have to do a photo shoot in front of it for my business, because, like I said, I'm a Texas geek. I love Texas, born and raised, and I love what we have to offer here in town, or in this state of Texas, that people can see and do.
Right.
And so I try to highlight that, because not everyone can afford to go to Europe or Asia and other things. But so I try to use my social media to inspire. Yeah, there it is.
So J-Rock's pulling this up.
Yep.
So it's right in the middle of everywhere? It's just sitting there?
It just sits there.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. And it's an art installation.
So there's nothing for sale there. It's not a real store. There's no.
Look, it's in the middle. It's in the desert.
Wow, that's crazy.
I'm gonna have a really cool outfit on and take pictures with it from me for my branding.
I'm surprised nobody breaks into that thing.
Yeah.
Look at this thing. It's just in the middle of the desert.
So Texas has some really cool stuff that people don't think about. And
Yeah.
that's why I wanted a travel trailer, and be honest with you. Because I'm gonna go check out some stuff in Texas this next year. That's my goal.
You know what I've seen people post as well, and I've seen it on the internet and on social media. There's like these pods. I don't know if it's in Marfa or somewhere in Texas, where you can eat or sleep in there.
In the caves or a pod. There's all kinds of things. There's pods. There's tree houses. There's
like clear.
caves.
They're clear, transparent pods.
Yeah, and there's something like that in Wimberley. We got it right around the corner from us. We've got some really cool stuff in town that people, or in our state of Texas, that people don't realize. Like there's caves in Big Bend that you can sleep in that are just cool. So I'm excited. That's why I bought the travel trailers, so we can do more things like that. Of course, my husband loves fishing, so his main goal is to go fishing down there, but see some really neat stuff and different things.
So this place has an address.
I don't know if yeah.
So people just pull up. Is
Take
it off the beaten path, or
yeah,
is it
you got to go
highway?
off I-10 a wee bit.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go off of I-10 and then go check it out. Like I said, I've been dying to do a photo shoot there.
So this is not like an all-day thing. It's just
No.
something you just pull
Literally,
up to.
I'll be there I already have the outfit picked in my head, ready to go take some pictures and leave. But
I can't wait to see that. So I'm a Texas guy as well.
Yeah.
Born and raised San Antonio. I've lived out in Los Angeles and San Diego a bit. I've traveled. I wouldn't say traveled the world in the Air Force.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people travel in the Air Force all over the world, and Japan and Germany. I never had those opportunities. The jobs that I had in the Air Force were pretty much isolated to either San Antonio, to the St. Louis Missouri area or to the New Jersey area.
Oh, okay.
All right, so I didn't get to travel a lot, and it's a good thing I didn't join the Air Force to travel.
Yeah.
But I did get different perspectives
Right.
on culture and, different ways of living, and not everything is the way people perceive it when you have blinders on.
Well,
Right.
yeah, and when you travel the world and you get to see how other people live, how they talk, what they're doing, I come back always with a different perspective, a different way of seeing something and appreciating life that we actually take granted, to be honest, in some of the areas that we live here in the States that we don't realize. And it's just so nice when you come back and to just find kindness. I feel like more people can have kindness towards each other.
Yeah.
And when you go to those places, it really does open your mind. Because, like, I went to Serbia, which is not a common place that most people are going to. And while I was there, they were having protests because of the government, because of the way that they did things. And 16 people had died, and these people are just passionate about it. And to be able to see that in person, you don't get that.
You feel it.
You feel it. You can just, you're there, you're humbled by it. And you really come back with a different way of seeing how people live and how they do things. And I wish more people would travel, but it is one of those things where hopefully I could bring some of that back with me and share it with people.
I love that you feel this stuff, because I can attest to that too. So I've taken several cruises. My wife and I and the family, we love to cruise. We're about to take a Christmas cruise in December as well. But when we go to like Belize or Honduras, and you see these less fortunate people, these kids that are 5, 6 years old out there working, selling candy,
Yep.
selling whatever they're selling that their parents have them doing, not going to school, they're uneducated, they don't have the clothes and the prosperity that people in America have.
Yeah.
Right? And people in America, they think this is the worst place to live sometimes, and it's horrible. But when you open up your mind and you travel a little bit, you can see that people are living in real poverty. That's really poverty.
Yes.
And some of these kids think, "Oh, I don't have Bose headsets. I'm poor."
Yeah.
No. You don't have food to eat. You don't have clean water to drink. You
And
can't
they're
even take a
always
bath.
So nice.
Yes.
And there's something about them when they're excited to see you. And, yes, some people are like, oh, they're bothering us too much or something. But they come up, and when you say no, thank you, or you do buy it, they're very grateful. It's not the same, there's something about their culture, and they're excited to see people and to try to, better their lives too. And it's just really neat to get to talking to some of them and meet them.
Yeah. It almost brought me to tears, because when my little girls were like 5 and 4 years old, I can see them, I can picture them in that same scenario.
Yeah.
And I got to pinch myself, like, how blessed, truly blessed are we?
Yeah.
And we Americans take a lot of stuff for granted, and
We do.
take our lives for granted and things like that. So what's one of the coolest places you've been to?
Antarctica.
Yes.
Yes.
And I was hoping you said that, because I remember that. I saw your Facebook post.
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
So Antarctica is really cool and beautiful. It's obviously a remote continent. It's not something you're going to go over there and stay in a nice resort or do anything. The process of getting there is a lot of fun. We had to fly to Buenos Aires, stayed there for a couple of nights, and then we took another smaller flight down to Ushuaia, and then we got on a expedition-style luxury boat. Let's not be for real. I wasn't doing anything like out of this, too remote, but we got to take the boat, and we went through the Drake Passage, which can be either the Drake Lake or the Drake Shake, and we got lucky on the way there. And then we go and just observe and see different things, animal life in their natural state. We got to walk on Antarctica, and we got to see different things and kayak, and it was just so serene and almost like a different world. We got to walk on a volcano. It felt like being on a different planet, just the terrain of it and just the look of it. And
Was it an active volcano?
yes, active volcano. The last time they said it had an eruption was 1980 something, and I was like,
That's pretty recent.
That's what I said. I said, this is not far enough for me, but they were like, don't worry, we'll know. And because you could see all the different.
The seismic graphs.
Well,
and
you
stuff,
could
right?
see some of the smoke. Like you could see, like I swear it just looked a little smoky walking through it, because the inside of the volcano was filled up with water. So it was completely covered inside. So the volcano's around, and then it was completely covered in water, and our boat went right in the middle of it to stop to let us out. But they also have the scientific stations everywhere. So they know what, if anything happens, they had different scientific stations. And I think one of the stations there was Chile, you know, because they're owned by different countries, because no country owns Antarctica. It is a independent, no country owns it, but different countries go there for scientific reasons, set up their stations, and they have them in different places. And certain countries are not allowed to set up there. You have to get permission to even be a country to set up there. And they'll ask like all these questions, like, why do you want to set up here? Because they don't want people trying to take it over and be like, it's our country now.
So Antarctica is a continent.
It is a continent.
And J-Rock, how many continents are there in the world, do you know?
Oh, don't do that to me.
There's 7.
7.
Okay.
7 continents.
Yeah.
J-Rock's like, shit, he put me on the spot. let me research that real quick.
Yeah,
You did put me
7
on the spot.
continents.
So this is the South Pole.
Yes.
And it is a huge landmass of ice.
Covered with ice.
And of course, underneath, if there was no ice there, it'd probably be rock and there'd probably be some plant life,
Right.
but very sparingly.
Yes.
Because there's only, certain species of plants that can survive in that type of weather.
Yeah,
Right.
there's plant life. There's a lot of birds there. There's a lot of bird life that people don't realize. And then
Penguins.
Oh my goodness, so many penguins are there.
Do you remember that documentary about the penguins? They travel for miles and miles to go lay the eggs. Was that in Antarctica? It was narrated by Morgan Freeman.
I'd have to, I don't remember.
The
'cause-
Flight of the Penguin or something like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of penguins there. They have 3 or 4 different species of penguins there.
The Emperor and
And then they have different seals there. There's leopard seals. There was
elephant
seals. And there was another one. I forgot the name of that one. And then the humpback whales. There's orcas. And yeah.
So that's what I want to talk to you about. All right. So you mentioned that you out in the ocean and you got on one of these boats, right?
The Zodiac.
The Zodiac.
Yes.
Okay. Is it like a fishing vessel or just a
It's a rubber
tour?
boat. So it's just
Small.
a small rubber boat. There was about 10 of us in it with our guide. And with that, we got to have orcas. There was not orcas. I'm sorry. The humpback whales, 2 of them. And they came up to our boats. I literally could have touched it. That's how close they were. So we all had to, usually you sit on the sides and stuff. But they all told us we had to hunker down real quick. Get down in the middle because we kept getting
tail.
Yeah, bumped by those whales. And it was one of the most beautiful experiences we've ever seen in our entire life. And we were so close, you could smell their breath when they would just snort and breathe. And
it wasn't pleasant.
No, but it was beautiful at the same
beautiful
time,
because
but
it
a
was
beautiful
natural.
stinky smell.
So I love the ocean.
Yeah.
I love science. I love, geography. And I love all the history. I love all that stuff.
history.
Right. And you've been able to travel where you see historic things. But I want to talk about these humpback whales.
Yeah.
These things are 30, 40 feet long.
Yeah.
Some of them.
Yes.
Maybe that's the babies. Maybe that's the mom. I don't know. But those are huge animals. Some of the largest in the world. Of course, I know the blue whale is the largest mammal on Earth. But just to see up front and underneath you these humpback whales, and you know that they can tip you over if they wanted to.
I have a video where I go, wait a minute. Can these things dump us? So you can hear me talking in the video, not realizing, like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And you can hear me talking in the video saying, oh my gosh, they can dump us over and dump us out. And then the other thing you hear me in the video, I said very clearly, because everyone's always like, why in the world do you want to go to Antarctica? And you hear me going, this people right here is why I effing came to Antarctica.
You can't duplicate that anywhere else. There's no simulator or anything that can.
Yeah.
And you were scared shitless, I'm sure.
Yes.
And you were, you respect the ocean,
But they were
right?
so calm feeling. You did not, be honest with you, you did not feel in danger. They were not acting like scared. Aggressive. They were acting very curious. You could tell.
They were just as curious about you as you were about
us. And you can tell. And we were very back and forth with each other. You can just feel that you didn't feel in danger at all because you could, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it was great because I've seen the whales in Alaska. I've seen orcas and humpback whales when I did the Alaskan cruise. Got to have some great things, with those trips. And then I've seen them in Cabo because they'd migrate down, So this was just completely different to be like just in the open.
So is this kind of what we're talking about there?
Yep. So those were the zodiacs look like, and you just had the whales all around you.
Karen, I would have been scared shitless.
So
But-
these things just kind of just roam around you.
Yeah.
And they don't bother y'all.
Yeah, we go out there and we try to see, because that's what our boat looks like, that from the expedition boat, and then we're just out there. Yeah.
J-Rock, you would have
so
needed
this
to
is-
change your underwear out
Oh
there.
hell yeah, I would, bro. One thing that scares there's one thing that scares the shit out of me is whenever my feet are not seen in water. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like
Well, and
that,
it was
that
like
really bothers the shit out of me. So this is cool though.
Yeah.
So you're on this ship here,
Yep.
and then y'all kind of just jump on that little boat and wander
And just
around.
swim around, and we went through.
Wow.
We saw icebergs. Like, we went to different places. We went through
Yeah, this looks amazing.
some really cool stuff that you just wouldn't.
Look at
It's like a
that.
different world. All the seals, all the penguins. We went to one island because we were so lucky when we were there. We actually had probably some of the best weather, they said, because they've been doing this for 8 years plus, some of these people. And they said we had the best weather that they had seen in 8 years, that they took us to an island that they had not been to in 8 years.
So historically, how is the weather? Snowy, raining?
Snow, all of it, all above. One day we'd have sunny, one day it was a little snowy, one day it was a little rainy. But we mostly had a lot of sunshine because we got lucky, because we just had the perfect weather, to be honest, when we were there. It was crazy how nice the weather was, that even they were shocked that they took us to that one island where we got to go see. We were literally parting the ways of penguins. They were just going through and parting, and then there were seals all around us, and we got to walk on a glacier, an actual glacier, and feel how that soft, muddy. They were like, okay, can't stand here for too long because you could get, sucked in like, quicksand.
Right.
Yeah, and stuff. Then we got to have one of the most beautiful sunsets I had ever seen in my entire life, and even because you don't get sunsets down there very often. So we got so lucky to have one of the most beautiful sunsets that we had ever seen while we were there.
And the temperature is about 0 the whole time?
No, 30,
Okay, so
40.
that's not too
We were in there
cold.
summertime.
Okay, summertime, so
We're in-
about 30.
Yeah, 30 to 40, and we even did the cold plunge.
So you jumped in.
It jumped in 30-degree water.
And that's a
31
lot
degrees.
colder than the cold plunge up in Chicago.
Yep, 31
70%
degrees
of the world's
Fahrenheit.
freshest water reserves. That is so cool.
That's the glaciers.
Yep, the glaciers.
So that's why people are up in arms right now about,
Yeah.
global warming and all this kind of stuff. Because glaciers, people don't realize this, but the glaciers are important
Yeah.
for keeping water the way it is and the land mass and
Yeah.
all that. So there's a lot of scientists that probably reside or work out in
Oh,
Antarctica, constantly researching and constantly testing things.
Yep, they go there, and then there's a part of the time that they get there, and they're there. No one can get to them. So if anything,
They're isolated.
Yep, because they're isolated. Pretty much right now, actually, because they're the opposite. They're underneath the equator, so their time right now is their winter time. So they're isolated right now. You can't get to them. They had one time a major emergency that was a British country. One of the British ones had a bad accident, and they were trying to get to them. The country was, and they were like, we don't know. And they made it to them somehow and got them out to save their life. But you go down there and you're there.
yeah, it's scary.
You know what's cool is all these countries kind of work together in unison
Yeah.
for the betterment of the world with these tests.
Stations.
And so you see probably South America, you see
Certain countries, yeah.
Japan and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
there's certain countries, and like I said, they got together with the world and said, okay, you cannot just come here. You have to prove that you're going to do scientific research. You have to prove that you're going to be doing something for the better. Why do you want to come here? Because they don't want people trying to just take over that that continent and stuff, because the side we were on, the thing was, there's South America right here, but if you go to the other side, there's Australia, so they don't want people trying to take over this and use it as a station to take over the world.
Not to divert from that, but in science, there's a lot of territorial elements.
Yep.
Where this country wants to be the first to discover this, or this
Yeah.
country wants to take credit for discovering things about the gray whale or the humpback whale. And
Well, yeah, they had this one scientist who was there who dug so deep down that he was able to pull that up, and that was 400,000-year-old.
Wow.
All the way that he dug down. So he was able to show the bubbles and the different things, and we watched the documentary while we were on the boat, because there's a lot of on that boat, there was more than just sitting around cocktails and dinner. There was a lot of things that we learned with glaciers and birds and different scientists on board with us. And then they showed us a documentary of this scientist who went there and was able to dig into this and saying, hey, pulled out something and could show the bubbles of the air pockets from 400,000 years ago.
Is that crazy?
Wow.
Yes. Yeah, so then they can test those things, those elements, to see what was there, what was going on back then, what was the gases like, what was the environment like from 400,000 years ago going up. And it was neat.
Right. Yeah, because allegedly and scientifically, the world was all one landmass.
Yeah.
And it broke up. That was called Pangea.
Yep.
Right. See, J-Rock, I know a little bit about science. I know a little bit about everything to make me dangerous. I'm not an expert in anything.
You don't need everything. You just need
Pangea,
enough.
so South America was kind of connected to Africa, and you can kind of see how they're shaped.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and Antarctica was just the bottom of the jar.
Yep.
Right. And it's still there, but there's a lot of, I'm sure, woolly mammoths and all the cold type of historic or prehistoric animals.
Well, those are going to be more in your North America,
okay,
different places, because the
Canada.
whole time, the whole time back then, that the whole Earth was at one point under ice. So you're going to see more of that up there. What they have down there, I'm not, because the way that the Drake Passage works, it's a current that goes this way all the way around. So the whales do not actually go through that. They are stuck there. They do not migrate up and north like they do going from Alaska down to Cabo or to Hawaii. Mm-hmm. They stay there. But because of that current going all the way around, not very many things go through that. They don't come in. And those whales don't come out.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, we learned stuff here on the Social Podcast as well.
It was really interesting. I learned a lot on that cruise.
That's awesome.
It wasn't just a cruise for luxury. It was
for
a
learning.
Very educational, beautiful cruise. And to be able to say I got to go to Antarctica, one of the continents, is probably the continent that nobody really can get to because it's not cheap, it's not easy to get to, and
Is that one of the most under-discovered continents or places in the world?
Yeah, definitely. There's so much there that, because like I said, they have a season where they can only go pretty much from November to March is the only time you can really get there to really see and have their summertime. So the rest of the year, it's completely, you can't travel to it at all.
So like I know the north, like in Alaska, it's 3 PM and it's pitch black.
Yeah.
How is it down there?
We had more sunshine. It was more like all the time. There were some times where I was like, is it ever going to get dark?
So it's the opposite of the north. You have more sunlight.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're going to be down here where it was, we just had, it was more sunshine. It wasn't going down all the time. But then it's hard because then they had such cloudy days too. So it was like you weren't seeing the sun all the time, but you had more daylight. But then you have that when you go up north to Greenland and Iceland. They have that season. And even Alaska has it where it's more lighter during the summertime.
Right.
Mm-hmm,
you know
more
what's cool fun fact about Greenland and Iceland that some people don't know, many do. So Iceland is actually green, right?
Yes.
And Greenland is actually
ice.
It's
actually ice. Yep.
And I think the Vikings did that to deter people from going to these places.
Yeah,
was it the Vikings or the Scandinavians?
It was someone. Yeah, they didn't want people to go there, so they named it the opposite on purpose. Mm-hmm. So that way people would be deterred from going there.
Right.
Especially Iceland because of how beautiful it was and that one. And so they were trying to get people to go to Greenland. But it's crazy now. There's actually towns in Greenland that people are going to and visiting, and you can go visit and see it. It's crazy.
And there's a lot of animals and all that kind
Lots.
of stuff.
That's where you'll see polar bears. You will not see polar bears in the south. You only see them up in that region.
All right, that's very interesting.
Yes.
I'm thinking polar bears are anywhere where it's cold.
No.
Yeah, I've seen the Coca-Cola commercials,
Yeah.
And we've seen Ice Age.
Yes,
Ice
Age, right? They're going everywhere and anywhere. But no, so polar bears are going to be up there in those regions. Mm-hmm.
Very cool. So
yeah.
So that is the most intriguing and influential place that you've traveled.
Well, just different and serene, intriguing and influential to me. I love Europe.
Okay.
I love the history of Europe. I love how far back it goes, So how much they've built and what they've done, and just to walk down cobblestone streets that are thousands of years old, to see the ruins, to just step back in time for how people actually truly lived.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you been to like the Vatican or anything like that?
I've actually not. So it's crazy. I've been to Italy, but I haven't been to Rome. I actually went to Sinigalla, which is on the east side of Italy in a smaller town. And then I took a bus down to Naples area and actually got to see Pompeii and Naples and Sorrento and the Amalfi Coast, which is just phenomenal and beautiful. And then where we were at, which I liked about Sinigalla, because we were there in November, and we actually got to go see more of the culture of the people and not just the touristy stuff. So they were having a winery, like a wine festival. It was a wine festival. All the people that make wine in the region were there. They gave us a cup with a holder so we could have our wine cup in a little holder, and got to walk around and talk to a lot of local wineries there and just, taste it. The menus at the restaurants had no English on them whatsoever, so you knew you were in the heart of
the real deal.
People.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they make the wine by stomping grapes?
I don't know if that's what they did at their wineries, but everyone shows that part of it.
Because that's the way they originally did it, right?
Yes, back in the day. But these are just individual wineries that we would buy. You can just taste it from all the local vineyards that were around in that region, because that's like the Marche region. So it's different than the other coast side, the West Coast side. So
I love this because you're feeling all this.
yeah.
You didn't know anything about this before.
No, I didn't. I learned all of that being in the Marche region and seeing it. And the crazy part is being from San Antonio, what's one of our biggest things that we go and see is the
Alamo.
Natural Bridge. Well, yes, the Alamo, but the Natural Bridge Caverns, right, in Garden Ridge. So I actually got to go there and see their huge caves in Italy. You know what I mean? So it's like, wow. So now I've been there. I've seen the caves there. I've seen the caves in
Been to
Ireland
Carlsbad?
and stuff like that. Yeah, with all those.
The bats.
Yeah, with the bats and the. I'm
That's
really,
in New Mexico.
Yes.
Right?
Yep. And so it was really cool to see, that, because we have that here too, the
Right.
caves and see it and get to see it in another country was pretty cool.
Yep. I like the stalactites and
Yeah,
all
the
that.
stalactites
How they
and
kind of
the-
merged together.
Yep. And they had them there just as big and huge, and it was just really cool to see something different in their region.
So you mentioned Pompeii.
Oh, I love Pompeii.
So Pompeii is pretty cool. I learned that growing up. That
Yep.
was where the volcano took out the entire area.
Yes.
And did you see the artifacts of the people
Yep.
that are still intact?
Yes. We got to see that. We got to do a walking tour, which is great, because when you go to those type of places, I always recommend doing a walking tour with someone, because you walking there, standing there and reading the sign, that does nothing. But listening to the history, listening to what they have to say, makes your experience 10 times better. And so for me, walking around Pompeii and getting to see it, it was very surreal.
Yeah.
Just they're in their human form of being coated and just sitting there you can see their expressions almost. You can see them holding on to their children. It was crazy.
Yeah. So J-Rock, I don't know if you know the history on Pompeii. I don't know when it happened, but this is a city. And what country is it? Is it Italy?
Italy.
Okay,
Naples.
Italy. So this volcano erupted and
It's called Mount Vesuvius.
it took over the area, and people didn't know it was coming.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have alert systems back then or notifications on their phone. Hey, what's it called? Amber Alert or any of these kind of things, weather tracker. So the volcano took over, and there were people that died. And there's a guy right there on the right, and that one too.
Yeah.
That's the way they were
forever.
formed.
They're frozen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like
And
they
the crazy
stay
part
like
is
that?
they didn't discover this until not that long ago, not as long ago as you would think. This was a forgotten city until one day archaeologists came through and started doing this and looking for it and found it again. And then when they uncovered the city, and you get to walk down the streets, and they had a sewer system back then. This city was so advanced that you could still see the running sewer system. They had the baths, they had mansions. I mean, they had brothels. This doesn't sound bad, but we were walking through, and to get to the brothels, they had penises pointing the way to the brothels down the street.
Sounds like Las Vegas.
Yeah, it was so crazy. And the crazy part, then they also said, so say you go to the brothel, because I have pictures of it. It was hilarious. So they had a menu of how you wanted it on the thing. And you're just like, what?
Wait a second.
And you're sitting there, and this is the
So
town.
that's the opposite of Amsterdam, because Amsterdam has women.
Well, the brothel, yeah, the same
Well,
thing.
the brothel is like a
It's
prostitution
women,
house.
prostitution, yeah, same
Right.
thing. And then so you could go there. So the women's would sit in these rooms. It was the same idea actually, because I've been to Amsterdam too, where they had the penises pointing which way for you to go, and it was crazy. But here,
So the penises were like arrows, right?
Yes.
They're pointing. You go this way.
yeah, And they were showing, and we were just like, this is crazy. But other than that, what was really cool was just to see the history there, the way that they were so far advanced.
Right.
They literally had sewer systems. They had baths. They had, yeah, there they are.
Is this them?
Yep. It's hilarious.
I would have never known that.
Yeah.
Thanks for that information,
I
Karen.
know, that's probably TMI. But
No, it's good.
One of the most funniest things.
This is real history here.
No, it was crazy to see the statues, to see how they lived. And, that's why they said that, part of it, they try to do the biblical story of saying that's why it was destroyed.
So you got J. Ruck looking for penises now on the internet.
This is going to be on your search, Johnny.
Yeah. I've got...
Jessica's going to be like, what were you searching, Johnny?
Yeah. But
He's looking big penises in Pompeii.
yeah, but they had restaurants back then, too. So you
Really?
could go... Yeah. It was one of the most fascinating cities to walk through because they have uncovered so much of it because it was all underneath all this gravel and dirt and rock.
Wow, look at this. So this is like under rock. Mm-hmm. Wow.
It was just so fascinating and to see it. And then we actually stayed in Sorrento, which is a little south of Naples because Naples is a huge city.
That's cool.
And we stayed in Sorrento, and then we got to go see the Amalfi Coast and stuff. So I highly recommend. But do you know what? I would recommend not going in the summertime.
Too hot?
Well, too hot because they have hot weather like we do, but so many tourists and all the cruise ships stop there. So
Gotcha.
we got to go in
Saturated.
November, and the weather was great. The weather was like 70, 60, perfect. There was hardly any people, and I always like to travel, to be honest with you, out of season. I like to do what they call shoulder season. I like to see things because I got to go to Ireland, did a 2-week road trip there at the end of March, early April. One of the best times that we ever had. And it was a little chilly and rainy, but we also had some beautiful days. And it wasn't, wall-to-wall cruise ships and wall-to-wall people in the summertime. Because when the kids are out, geez, that's when everyone is traveling.
Let's say being on a Carnival cruise in July.
So
Yeah.
I want to be a devil's advocate on this. Is this okay? If I can be okay. So Netflix is trying to do something about these cruises. I don't know if you've noticed that, right?
The poop cruise.
Yeah. Did you see what else just got put
I watched the poop
out?
cruise. I watched the whole show. And I think that, to be honest, I watched it. And my first, because being on cruises, I've done about 20 of them,
I was
right?
about to ask how many
I've
have you
been
done?
on a bunch of them.
Okay.
The people, I'm going to be honest, the guests on there, listening to them on that, they were wrong. They were
Really?
demanding. They were being, and you've been on a cruise, you know what I'm talking about, sitting there going, oh my God, we're so, instead of actually doing what they needed to do and go to the bathroom in the bags, and dispose of it the right way, they didn't care. They still used the toilets. If you really watch this documentary,
I've
the
seen it.
guests were overpowering and taking and being
Divas.
yes. Yes. And then the other thing that I noticed too, because then they were, and I get it, this was not an ideal situation.
No, yeah.
It was not good for anyone.
It was a shitty situation.
Yeah, but then they were hoarding. If you really read what they were, if you really listen to some of the things, and they were hoarding and taking the food and taking not just enough for them to eat, they were hoarding it and getting more and more. Then they demanded drinks. So then the stupid Carnival opened up the bar. Well, what do you think's going to happen? More pee and poop. So there should have been a saying, hey, we got to make through this and make this the right thing. It's kind of like when you watch The Walking Dead, right? Now they're killing each other instead of the walkers. I don't understand. That's when I stopped watching it, to be honest with you, because it's like at some point, when do you come together? So I watched that whole documentary, and I've been on a cruise ship where we were stuck out for 4 hours we had a propeller on the Carnival Vista.
Yeah, I hear that happens.
It
It's
does.
gonna
So
happen,
you go
right?
with the flow, because with travel, all travel, it doesn't matter where you go anymore. You have to be open to realize something might happen, because look at all the flights. Look at how there are delays. Look how they're having right now. It seems like more than I've ever seen in our industry with flight delays, flight problems. I mean, geez Louise, I had to fly a couple of weeks after that one that crashed in Washington, D.C., and I had to go to Washington, D.C. I'm not going to lie. I actually kind of had a panic attack on the way there, and I don't get like that because I know that's not, it was at American Airlines about. So you have to be open to know.
With the helicopter?
Yes, just and the Air India thing that just happened.
That one?
But it's more than just that. But you just, in regular travel, there's problems. And you have to adjust for it. You cannot expect them just to lay backwards for you. You have to make, so like I had clients not that long ago, if they're booking a cruise that they're going to Europe and the cruise is in Europe, I always book them to say, you are not flying in the same day. I do that with all my cruises if they're in a different city. I'm like, y'all need to account to get there in enough time, because if the airline has a problem, who cares if you miss out on your hotel night for the one night, but you made it to your cruise because that's where your biggest dollars are, and then you have travel insurance and you can get your money back because you'll put in a thing and you can get that, make up that money. But you have to account for problems.
Hey, just like driving to San Antonio from New Braunfels.
Yeah.
You're going to have to account for an accident.
For an hour just to get to 410.
Yeah.
And it's not going to deter me from going on cruises. I'm still going to go on cruises.
But you just have to account. Like, so if you're flying to Miami, don't fly the same day. I had a client who I booked it for Galveston. His family was in Galveston. I think the kids were in Charleston, South Carolina, and he was coming from Phoenix, Arizona. Well, guess what happened? And he booked his own flight because, of course, some people do that, and I'm okay. That's what you're going to do. But he booked it for the same day. Well, at my time, 5 a.m., I'm getting a phone call and a text message because their flight's now going to be delayed, and they're not going to land in Houston now until 1:30, and their boat leaves at 4.
Oh,
and I'm like, what do you want me to do for you?
Yep.
This is why I advise for you to come the night before. So you can have adjustments to make up for that time lost.
That's what we do.
Yep. And I always, if you're going from here to Houston to Galveston, drive. You don't need a hotel room. It's a 4 or 5 hour drive. You leave at 6 a.m., you're there by noon. That's not a big deal. But when you're flying in somewhere, I definitely try to advise clients to be patient, get there, spend the extra $200 for that. Just get a crappy room. You don't need a fancy room, just to adjust for all the flight issues. Because I don't care who you are. Those flights have been horrendous.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cancellations and delays.
Yeah, no, and I also say because Netflix just put out a new series out.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a couple days ago.
Jamie Mathis or something like
The
that.
lady that disappeared.
Yeah, Amy Bradley.
Oh,
is
Amy
missing.
Bradley.
Yeah, I haven't watched that. I need to watch it.
Yeah, I after watching it, it doesn't like freak me out on. I've never been on a cruise.
Okay.
So it doesn't freak me out to not go on a cruise, especially because this happened in the 90s.
Yeah.
So it's like, 20 years later, we have more technology, hopefully Royal Caribbean, but I'm sure there's many other
Well, look what just
companies
happened
you
with
can
Disney.
do. Yeah, exactly. Same thing, right?
That's scary.
Yeah.
Anything could happen.
Yeah,
Anything can happen.
It's just crazy how people are living in the moment with what's going on right now with all these cruises. So, people are saying, oh my God, the cruises lines are going down. And it's not going to happen. People love going on cruises,
Yep.
What about
We
with
could-
cars? There's car accidents every day.
Yeah,
There's a car accident right now. I'm sure. Are we
Yeah.
going to stop driving cars?
No, it's the same thing. We could say the thing about all-inclusive resorts, though. Look what happened to Aruba with the girl there, and look what just happened recently with the other girl that happened in Punta Cana, and then the
Disappeared.
Turks and Caicos guy that just disappeared. I mean, we can say that about a lot of things, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And if you look at that, if that's how you want to live your life, then you're the one that's going to be
missing out.
missing on different things,
Yeah, you're missing out.
So my thing is don't go to another country if you and your wife aren't good. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey,
That was my first question
we-
to the Turks and Caicos. I said, were they married for 10 years plus? I was just being bad.
yeah. We watch a lot of those 48 hours hard
Dude.
evidence and stuff, so my wife knows where to
Snapped.
bury the body.
Yeah, snapped.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So-
So Bob, hey.
Hey, Bob,
Yeah.
I told you, I'm not ever getting divorced again. I'll be a widow before I'm divorced.
And I'm sure you have a pretty good insurance,
Exactly.
life insurance as well. So Bob, you better be on your P's and Q's.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
All of that. I mean, we can talk travel, we can talk, business, small business. But who you are today, there was a path that you took, right? Mm-hmm. And it's made you stronger. It's made you more invested in your future, and it's made you more aware, stronger mentally. And you have this. You've had this trauma before,
Yeah.
right? And I don't want to steal your thunder, but we talked about it at the top of the show.
yep.
Something has made you stronger. Mm-hmm. It's made Karen who she is today, and it's molded you into a victor,
Yes.
right? And you're not a victim.
No.
You're a victor, and you're able to tell your story, right? So I'm going to let you kind of go into that.
Yeah, definitely. So It kind of, and be honest, started when I was about 17. I had a child at 17. I was in high school. When I graduated high school, he was in the audience, 5-6 months old in the audience. And now this big baby of mine is turning 30 this year. It's crazy because I'm only 47. And so I get to have my firstborn turning 30. So with that, I went down a different path of not knowing what to do, not knowing really what to do with that. And then I got married at 19 to someone who was joining the Air Force because, to be honest, my parents, everyone kind of told us we had to get married to someone. I had to do this because he was the father, right? Had to stop who I was, and he's joining the Air Force, so y'all will go have this great, wonderful life together. And it just wasn't where...
It was forced?
It was forced. Did I kind of love him at the time or thought, actually, okay, I thought that's what love was supposed to be because I'm going to be honest, I didn't have sometimes the greatest role models of some of that, what love should look like and what love is. And so that person was not the nicest person. That was my first bout with a little bit of the domestic violence stuff,
Because you really didn't know him either, right?
No, well? I knew. I was with him since I was 16.
Okay, so about 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I knew, but we never lived together. We didn't even actually live together until we moved to South Dakota when he got back from basic training and all of that. I never had lived alone with him until then because we got married. And then we kind of lived at my aunt's house for a little bit because it just wasn't working at my parents' house. And then he went off to basic training and then went off to the school or whatever they call that next.
Tech school?
Yeah, tech school, went to that. And I'd never actually lived with him until I moved up to South Dakota.
And you don't know somebody until you live with them.
Until you live with them.
Or travel with them.
Or travel, yep. And so... And I had some red flags all before that, right? And I ignored them because I thought that's what love was. And I didn't do what I should have done. I should have gone with my gut instinct. I mean, even the day before we got married, he was being such a jerk to me. And I'm like, are we still getting married? Like, I'm so,
right.
Like literally the morning of, like, are we still getting married? And then we moved up there and he was so controlling. I wasn't even allowed to get... Like I worked at the daycare on base, and I would come home on Fridays, and our whole paycheck was gone because he had moved the money to keep me down. And I'm 19, 20, going into 21 at this time, and I couldn't even have control of this. Like he would just take all the money. I was so scared to ask for, stuff for me to have a bath, or I was so scared of
necessities.
him.
So that's psychological.
Yes.
Abuse, and it's a power.
It is.
It's a power move.
And he would do things like, you're so fat and ugly, no man will ever love you. So there was these things, these words that sometimes stick with me forever. And they're still kind of there, And then I left because, so he actually got stationed in Kuwait for a whole month. And so I decided to go get a job at a bar where he couldn't take my money. So I was working at this bar in South Dakota so I could get cash saved up. And I didn't even have a car. I had never had my own car and finally got my own car. And I think I made him co-sign for it, but I got my own car, this really cool red with 2 black racing stripes. What was a Camaro? It was 1995. So I was like, hey, I'm going to do this like my
those
way.
Camaros were badass back in 95.
Back in 90, yeah. It was the 25th anniversary style, so it was pretty cool. But anywho, that was fun. So then I left and I came home to, my parents were actually living in San Marcos at the time and got there. Well, in that time, I'm 22 now for the first time, single, never had really been on my own, never had really done things, and I hit a dark path. And I'm talking in San Marcos, if you know anything about San Marcos with the college scene, being 22, I hit the dating scene, I hit the party scene, which I had never done before, and I had never really drank before that, never done anything, and got sucked into that party life of wanting to be 22 instead of being a parent. And I had about 2 years that I lost my life at that time, actually.
Do you think it's because you weren't allowed by him to be free, that you were like, oh, here's my chance to go live?
Yeah, well, and even my parents, too, because growing up, I wasn't allowed to watch 90210. I was in such a...
Dylan and who's the other guy?
Oh, yeah.
Jason Priestley?
Yeah, yes. And I wasn't allowed... So I was sheltered so much growing up, too, that I wasn't allowed to... I got in trouble for going to a thing to watch... And we watched Dirty Dancing. And now I look back at Dirty Dancing and I'm like, what? And I got in so much trouble because that's what they played at the sleepover, right? So I was very sheltered. until 22, I'm on my own. I was working at the Motorola plant in Seguin at the time. It's not there anymore, but that's where I was working at. And I got into drinking and smoking weed, and then I got into party drugs. So, and I call them because I did like cocaine and ecstasy and mushrooms. And at one point, this is like the lowest point of my life, is when I smoked crack out of a light bulb. That I never repeated it, but I got lucky for some reason, and I was like, something's got to give. I was arrested, went to jail before. Things that I don't really go around like promoting. That's not something, this is not like I think it's funny. I don't think it's, whatever, but it is part of who I am. I had that. And then I got myself into a bad situation where I had nowhere to live. So I didn't have a car anymore. My car had got, broke down, to be honest, I left it on the side of I-10 in Louisiana, and I hitchhiked home, which not very many people should do. Do not promote hitchhiking home. A truck driver picked me up and took me home, but, yeah. And I just had this different lifestyle, this different thing, and I hit the lowest of lows when I had nowhere to go. And I was sleeping on people's couches here and there. And thankfully, my parents were watching my son, because like all of this, right? I was there for him, but I was absent at the same time because I just went down such a dark path. And then sold some furniture, someone else's furniture. I don't even know whose furniture I sold. Sold someone else's furniture, got $300, called my sister, and I said, I need help. And so she said, get here however you can, because I'm trying to come from San Marcos, and she lives in Corpus Christi. And she's like, if you get here, you can stay here, but you only have 2 months, and then you're done. So I got on the Greyhound bus, got down to Corpus Christi, and got a job within 2 weeks, got my own place in 2 weeks, 2 weeks later, and I didn't have a car still. So I was taking the bus to work every day. So I made sure my apartment was on the bus route so I could get back and forth to work. And then got a car a couple of months later back then you can get a cool deal, right? Toyota Tercel for $1,500. I was so proud of my own little car that I got all on my own, and started rebuilding from there, but still went down dark paths of like being sucked in. I got my son back, and we were doing pretty good together. And then I met the next human being that was probably the darkest human being I could have ever been with, who pretended very well that, because he had 2 sons, I had a son, that he wanted a family life. He wanted this. We got married. We had a daughter together. And then that's when the really bad, domestic violence hit with the abuse. The other one, he did a little like physical abuse, but not like this one, who truly, I had to call the cop, and I have a case against him and all these things because of how bad I had to crawl out of a window to save my life one time, and the things that I had going on with that. And then left him, and we were together for 7 years. I put up with that for 7 years.
Why did you put up with it?
Because the guilt of other people. Because I had been married now, because growing up with the Catholic background, the guilt of that was bigger. And I will never forget, I went to the fiesta in San Antonio, and it was May of, I remember dates so well. I'm kind of a weirdo like that. And so it was like May of 2010. And I remember running into this couple that I knew from Corpus, and she knows nothing. She just, sees us, and she's like, I'm so proud that you're still together and married and your family. And I'm sitting there like, oh my God, we just got into a huge fight in front of everyone at Fiesta, and hated his guts. We didn't even share the same bedroom anymore because we were so separate. I was literally with him just so I could have a babysitter, because I, at the time, was a Chili's waitress. I was going back to school. I was working on my associate's degree. And at some point, I got an assistant manager job at Dollar General. At this point, I just needed a babysitter. But when you ran into that someone who's like, oh, wow, I'm so proud of you. And I'm like, now what do you do with that? I'm embarrassed because I want to leave so bad. And I couldn't, because I felt guilty from the perception of what other people were doing.
You think that happens a lot today in society?
Yes.
What advice do you have for people that are stuck like that?
So If you have, well, because it's hard because I had an aunt who told me, well, he was always nice to us. And I'm looking at them like, he beat me up and said and called me the see you next Tuesday all the time and was so mean. And the advice I have is if you're in that bad of a situation, to be honest with you, it's hard to say because everyone can tell you to leave, but until that person's ready, there's nothing anyone can honestly do. The only thing I could tell you is if you know someone in that situation, you need to say, I love you. And you're better than that because they're not loving themselves at that moment. And they're not thinking that they're lovable. They're not thinking that they're worthy. And we forget that. And to be honest with you, because you see it all the time with domestic violence people that they're, like, why didn't you just leave earlier? Well, why'd you stay so long? Why did you do that? Well, there's so much that you're down that people just need to say, hey, I'm here for you if you need me. I will listen to you. You tell me how I can help you. And then people will start saying, okay, they start getting that strength. And just tell people, I love you. You're better than this. You are worth more. But until that person wants to do it, it's kind of hard to give someone advice with that because no one can do it for you.
Right.
Yeah.
It's got to come from within.
Yes.
And domestic abuse goes both ways. I've seen women abuse men mentally and physically.
Yes.
But it happens more with the man dominating the women.
My son just recently went through that with his ex-fiance, my grandbaby's mom. I did not realize how much abuse she was giving him mentally, and he's a police officer who works his butt off, was the thing, and I didn't realize how much mentally she had torn him down until he finally said enough is enough.
Right.
It does happen both ways.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be physical.
No.
It doesn't have to be
mental.
physical at all. Mental.
It's emotional.
Yeah.
Mental and emotional are sometimes more...
and harder for men.
Yes.
A man would rather be hit and just be like, done, right?
Exactly.
But
once you tear somebody down, a narcissist or an abuser tears somebody down, they take away your confidence. That's the first one.
Yep.
And then they start putting you down where you feel you have no worth, no value, and you are dependent on them.
Yeah.
And they are your superior, and they can play you like a puppet and do whatever they want.
Yep.
They'll tell you to shut the fuck up. They'll tell you to do all, and you're just like, okay, yes, sir.
The physical part of it was easier than the verbal and the emotional abuse. It sounds bad to say.
Because it's longer lasting.
It's longer lasting. It stays with you forever. It stays with you. Like I said, I can talk about that with the first one. Like, you're so fat and ugly, no man will ever love you. That's sometimes still, is it there for me? No, but is it there? Yeah. People always like, why do you dress up? Why do you do this? I don't know. Maybe because I just want to present myself in a way, or I...
Is it a scar that you have?
Yeah, sometimes. Yes.
And do you ever undervalue yourself, or do you ever think back and it's like, man, am I really doing this? Because you're doing a hell of a lot of things.
Yeah.
And successful things.
Yeah.
You have come full circle. I mean, of course, I didn't know you back then, but you are a winner, Karen. And people emulate you, and people want to be in your shoes and all this. But it took a lot of courage and a lot of assessment and stuff to get out of that. And that is courageous.
Yeah.
You're a survivor. Because these guys could have killed you. Yes.
And I had to look back at the same time, and I have to take ownership for some of the things that I let happen in the sense. And that sounds really bad to say because I've had people like, well, you didn't. I said, no, I stayed longer than I should have. I have to also say, hey, look back and say, what could I have done better? And I have to admit to things, too, that it's not perfect either. Like even for myself. That's one of the biggest things that I look back on is I'll be the first person. I'll fuck up all the time. But I've put foot in mouth many of times, but I'm the first person that will say, you know what, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have said that. You have to take ownership of your actions. I have to take ownership for the things that I put myself in to be there too. So I have to take ownership for those 2 years that I fucked up. My grandma one time, she looked at me and she goes, Karen, after those 2 years and I got some shit together and I was doing pretty decent on my own, was I perfect? No, but I was doing a lot better. My life always started going that way for the most part. And she goes, you look so much healthier and better, and there's something like a glow. And finally just looked at her and I said, Grandma, that's because I am not doing drugs and drinking like that anymore. And she just looked at her eyes went boom. And I said, I'm not going to pretend like that didn't happen and I wasn't messing up because I don't want to be that person again. I'm going to be free from it and not hide behind a closet and pretend like these things didn't happen. And I feel like a lot of people are ashamed, and that's okay. But once you kind of realize it's not to be just ashamed of, it's forgive yourself. I asked my son at 14, we had a sit down, and I said, Michael, please tell me you forgive me because I can't take that back. I can't take back what I did. But what I can do is promise you moving forward that'll never happen again and be a better person from it. Because you can't walk backwards. We can look at the past all day long. That ain't going to do anything for me. But what it's going to do is how I survive and how I move forward in my future and how I make better and invest in myself and to do better with other people. And that's where I think people don't. They always want to be like, I hate that question. I hate it when I see it on Facebook when they're always like, what would you tell your younger self? Nothing. Not a fucking thing. Because I wouldn't be here right now if I didn't walk through some of those things that I went through. I wouldn't be here right now if I didn't learn from those mistakes.
That was my question. Is like, obviously we go through the negative, and you're like, dude, why did I go through this? But is there anything? Obviously, you see everything, but like,
Yeah.
is this was that the positive of going through that negative?
Yeah, you have to sometimes. Sometimes when you're in the lowest of lows, you take that and you learn from it and you grow from it. It's okay. I'm like an oddly positive person too. At the same time, it's very strange. I can take things and look back and be like, well, that fucking sucked, right? But I'm not going to do that again. I can take a situation and I can pull out something and be like, well, this is la and this is how we could do it and this is what we could do better. It's just taking that. It's okay. I can't change those things. I can't change that I made those mistakes, but what I can do is never do them again, learn from them, and be part of who I am as a human being. And then when you see someone else going through it, it's to be a positive reinforcement for them.
Absolutely, and that's what this show is about.
Yes.
Helping people that are struggling with some of the same things that you probably went through.
Yeah.
And Karen and J-Rock, there's people all over the world that are going through domestic stuff.
Yep.
People that we know, people that are close to us, I'm sure.
Yes.
That we might not even know that they're going through it.
No.
Because people are trying to be private and trying to paint a pretty picture that everything is great.
Everything's perfect.
But
Wonderful.
they're grieving inside, and they're handcuffed, and they're reluctant to come out and speak out against it for some reason, because people don't want to be vulnerable. And we talked about it with our previous guest, Antonio Santana. He said being vulnerable is the best thing that he has, because it's his ability to tell a story. If he's not vulnerable, the story ends with him, and it's not going to go on to somebody else that he can help. And I think you're telling a story as well, not only about your wonderful businesses, but about your challenges that you've had, and that how you can grow and develop and be able to conquer your challenges and things like that. And you're a true testimony of darkness to success.
Yeah, definitely. I sometimes look back and I lost 2 years, in those times of really just crazy and dumb. And the greatest thing right now, though, this is the crazy thing where life comes back in full circle for you, is my grandson. I have a grandson, right? He's 6 years old. That's the time where I had lost with my son now, and I get to kind of see him through him again and see that parts that I kind of missed, that I messed up. And it's so crazy that I get to relive a little bit of that joyness that I missed with him, but I get to have just a glimpse.
Right.
It's just a glimpse, because he's not mine. He doesn't live with me full time. I mean, I try to steal him when I can, but I have to give him back or whatever, parents, whatever. But I get a glimpse of my child who I had kind of...
You can relive it a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. And I get to, like I said, I asked him for forgiveness. I said, I don't want to keep reliving this with you, but I want to know that I will be moving forward forever here for you.
And he forgave you?
And he forgave me, and we have, a good relationship.
And that set the both of you free.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah. So.
Being able to talk about things, and that's part of being a good person and human and wife and husband. You got to be able to talk about problems, solve problems, put out fires. And you can't change the past.
No.
You hit on the head. You can't not change the past, but you can talk about it and talk about how you've grown and learned. And that's where we're at today. I've made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
I'm sure J-Rock's made a lot of mistakes. We all have. If you're human, you've made mistakes. And you're better because you made mistakes. You can't be Miss Perfect and Mr. Perfect all the time.
Exactly.
Because if you're perfect all the time, you're not learning and growing shit.
Nope.
You got to be able to make mistakes, but owning up to it is the key to victory.
That's the key. And a lot of people don't want to take that. They don't want to actually own up to those mistakes. They want to pretend like, they always have excuses. Have you noticed that?
Right.
There's people out there that always make excuses.
Or justification.
Or justifying their behaviors or what they're doing instead of just saying, you know what, straight up, I fucked up. It's okay. I could have done this better. I could have tried this, and it's okay. It's just own it and move and walk forward. Yeah. And don't do it again. Yeah.
Karen, I love your story. I love your leadership, because you are a leader. I know some people don't look at business owners as leaders. You are a community leader. You're an influencer. You're a leader at home. You're a leader abroad when you go travel. And you're a leader with your team at Climate Express. And you're a leader here in our forum. Well, so thank you. It's been an honor and a pleasure having you. I can go on and on and on. But we'd like to have you on as a guest, maybe on the Shoot the Shit podcast or the Social Plug podcast, Karen Carifee Part 2. Because there's a lot that you offer. There's a lot of value that you offer. And I love your storytelling and your willingness to talk about your mistakes and the things that you've gone through to help others. And like I said, this is what this show is about, and that's what makes us all better. If we had more people like Karen that can be able to talk about their mistakes, we'd all be better for it. And we'd all be more prosperous.
Yep. And just be kind to people. Yep. There's no reason. That's my biggest thing I wish people would get from life.
Don't be an asshole.
Just be kind.
Yeah, people go through what you went through, and they are mad at life, or they're mad at their family, or they're mad at somebody to just get through their each day. And, and I mean this in the most respectful way, Karen. This is the second time I've been blessed to hear your story. When you were sitting with Jerry one time a while back, and I would have never known that about you. Like, following you on social media too, would have never known that about you if I didn't hear your story, right? But knowing all the things that you're doing in life, you inspire me to go travel, but you also inspired me to make sure that we get this story out to help others as well, because it's like you said, you don't want nobody to go through this type of stuff. And if they do, let's get the positive out of it. You know what I mean? So
definitely.
Thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So before we close, I want to give another shout out to your businesses. So Climate Express Home Services. You guys are pioneers in the HVAC and the which is heating and air conditioning for your home or for your business. You guys specialize in that, and you're doing electrical services as well. So very awesome, and you guys are the best of the best. And Wanderlust Travel Jetsetters, that is your brand and your business. You've traveled the world, and you're helping other people open up their horizons with travel and new experiences and new vibes, because it's in the heart. When you go out and you travel, you're not just looking at things, you're feeling things, right? Like Pompeii, like the humpback whales, like the penguins, like all these different things. There's literally millions of things that you can experience. So, yep, and I have personal testimony. I use you for both services. You're my go-to, and keep on rocking it out. So where can we find you for the Climate Express?
We're on Facebook, social media. We have a website, and then we have a number you can call to schedule services. We have a dispatcher on call, dispatchers for after hours as well.
What's the website?
www.climateexpressair.com.
Okay.
Yep.
And the phone number?
830-302-7401.
Gotcha. And on social media, just look up Climate Express.
Yep.
Home
Climate
services.
Express Home Services.
And what about the Wanderlust Travel?
Wanderlust Travel. I also have a website with www.wanderlusttraveljetsetter.com. And then I'm big on social media. That's where I do a lot of that. But then you can call me too or message me. So I have a 210-378-6157 cell phone number that people reach out to me all the time, or message me through Facebook. That's big too.
And you're fast.
Yeah.
So I message you on Facebook, and within 30 seconds to a minute, I see you typing there, and you respond to me.
Well, it's funny because like behind the scenes, people don't realize that sometimes even with Climate Express, they're actually talking to the owners and they don't know it. I do not want people. I'm old school. I have a sense of urgency. I have a sense of like, now, get it done.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because if you miss that communication, they're going to move on to somebody else.
Yep. 100%.
That's the way it is.
Yep.
So for those of you watching, we appreciate you supporting us and tuning into our podcast. You can be anywhere, but you're here with us, checking out Karen Carifee and her wonderful things that she's doing. You can find us at socialplugmedia.net. You can find us on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Spotify. We got a lot of episodes on Spotify. Today's show is produced by Social Plug Media, the great J-Rock Castillo. You can find him all over social media. The dude is a beast. He's a big wrestling fan, so he's got his wrestling shirt on today. And there it is right there. I know he's going to miss John Cena. Yep. Is John Cena going away, by the way?
He is, man.
Okay.
We got him till probably next WrestleMania, where he'll be gone for a while.
All right, so you can find J-Rock all over social media as well. He is a blast to be with. He's a mogul. So with that said, we are unplugged from the Social Plug Podcast, where we connect you to level up. And today's show is sponsored by TopFlightRealtyGroup.com. You can find them all over social media as well. You can reach out to Jessica Martinez at 210-875-0834. She can help you out with your real estate needs, goals, plans, strategies, and whatever else you might need dealing with real estate. With that said, we'll talk to you soon.